hindi pa ho natin siya napapanagot after all these years. And these killings had started nung time pa niya as mayor, yung phenomenon ng Davao Death Squad. Pinatuloy niya at nagiging klarado dun sa mga naririnig natin sa House of Representatives Quadcom hearings that yun din ang ginawang modelo ng war on drugs starting 2016. I was hoping that Colonel Garma and the others who already testified there at the Quadcom hearings, including also Kerwin Espinosa, would be here so that, our discussions, our presentations would be in sync with each other, or that we listen to them again, and then I will respond to them. Now, I responded to the crisis that we faced starting in 2016, as I said, by filing the resolution and by delivering a privileged speech. Ang problema, hindi ko po yun natuloy. Yung aking pag-imbestiga noong mga nangyayaring patayan early on dun sa nung naging Pangulo si Rodrigo Duterte. Malungkot po ako, or actually I have mixed feelings now. People have been asking me, how do you feel that you're again appearing before the Senate for the first time? I'm setting foot in the premises of the Senate. Ang sabi ko, mixed feelings dahil sana nga noon pa, hindi na natin hinintay yung libo-libong mga pinatay. Pero nagagalak naman ako that I think we have the right environment now. Sana po, marami pa ang lumantad para magsabi pa kung ano talaga ang tunay na layunin ng Project Double Barrel. Yung kulang ho kasi noon, nung nag-imbestiga ako, when I presided over the Senate committee hearings, yes, we were able to present. Actually, konti lang, 2 lang ata out of the 13 available CHR witnesses. But because I was eventually ousted as the chairperson of the committee, after I presented Mr. Edgar Matubato, hindi na po yun natuloy. Pero, ang talagang magiging kulang ng investigation na yon ay yung mga insider na makakapagpatunay sa atin na yung Project Double Barrel is the very program that was used in eliminating and in killing drug suspects. Because malinaw sa mga naging pronouncements ng dating mayor, ng dating pangulo, na yan ang pinaka-polisiya na niya in addressing the drug problem. Nasabi na ho kanina, yung mga examples, at marami pa ho yun. I have a whole collection of his statements, which really categorically show very clearly, manifestly, that he was inducing, encouraging the killings. And it cannot just be purely rhetoric. Kasi sinunod yung mga binanggit niya. Sinunod yung kanyang mga sinasabi na kailangang patayin ng mga yan. Manlanlaban man o hindi, ang problema sa nanlaban, hindi ho kapanipaniwala. Siguro may ilan-ilan na may mga nanlaban talaga. Pero sa karamihan, sa mga lumabas na mga kwento ng mga kaanak ng mga biktima, ay karamihan sa kanila ay hindi nanlaban. Ano ba yung nangyari sa akin? Hindi lang sila nakontento na alisin ako bilang committee chairperson, but sinundan po ako ng katakot-takot na acts of persecution. Kasama na yung halos araw-araw na minumura halos araw-araw na pinapahiya. Halos araw-araw na I was deprived of my honor and because they tried to destroy my reputation. At hindi pa ho sila nakontento doon, nag-file sila ng mga gawag-gawang mga kaso para subukan ako na mapatahimik. Hindi po sila nagtagumpay doon. Kahit nasa loob po ako sa kulungan, I continued to monitor what was happening. I had with me already the records ng Senate investigation, at least nung ako pa yung nag-preside. I even filed and submitted a comprehensive dissenting report dun sa naging majority report by the committee, the Gordon report. I filed a dissenting report. I also had the records of my investigation of the DDS phenomenon. Pero ang isa pong ang pwede nating makita doon is that hindi natin mga natapos yun kasi nandyan yung atmosphere of, or the atmosphere of fear, the culture of fear and impunity. Sa Davao, meron kaming ilan-ilan na kausap na sekreto, pero hindi naman sila pumayag na i-present sila publicly dun sa DDS inquiry ng CHR. Now, doon naman sa Senate inquiry, sabi ko nga, hindi naman talaga tinuloy. Kaya hindi kagulat-gulat na yung naging conclusion ng majority is that the killings were not state-sponsored. Kung binigyan sana ng pagkakataon na talagang ituloy yung investigasyon na yon, na mas magiging seryoso ang investigasyon, wala man lang iniisip na whitewash ng investigasyon because the then president was still at the height of his power, ay siguro pwede natin na-prove yun. Hindi nga po yun nangyari. Ngayon tayo umaasa na dahil dyan sa mga lumalabas na mga revelasyon, pwedeng-pwede at nandyan na yung mga ebidensya na mga state-sponsored yung mga killings na yan. So, gusto ko sanang i-tie pa talaga, i-link pa talaga sa DDS killings yung mga nangyaring patayan since 2016 or pagpatay under the name of war on drugs. I would wish to ask for permission that that's going to be the focus, especially so na lumilinaw ngayon, sinimulan na nung testimony ni Colonel Agarma na yun ang ginawang model. I would not have the time now to really explain all of that. But I can really come up with a comprehensive summary ng mga sinabi noon nila Edgar Matobato, yung mga sinabi subsequently ni Arturo Las Cañas, who at first denied that there was a DDS, denied responsibility for the killings, denied that it was then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte responsible for that. But in a subsequent appearance, wala na po ako noon, nakakulong na po ako, he recanted and gave us this very comprehensive story, lalo na dun sa kanyang ICC.
Senator De Lima, it is only fair na bigyan niyo ako ng 1 minute. And I have read, this is part of my speech, but I want to make it of record. Ito yung the long and short sa trabaho ko. Nung mayor ako, pati presidente ako, is that the jobs, nung dalawang trabaho was never easy. And it was not meant to be. I have tried to do the best I can to address the problem of illegal drugs and without compromise. Kasali na lahat yung naririnig ninyo. Whatever it is, hindi ako nag-compromise. Sinabi ko ito. Pagka pumasok kayo dyan, walang compromise, walang ariglo, walang usapan. Do not do it in my city. Nung presidente ako, sabi ko, bitawan ninyo. Kasi pag hindi, magkakaroon talaga tayo ng problema. Ito na nga itong ngayon. As I've tried to do the best I can to address the problem of illegal drugs firmly and without compromise. Yan ang gusto ko lang iiwan dito bago ako aalis. O bago ako alis sa mundong ito. For all of its successes and shortcomings, it was not a perfect one. Maraming mali. Baka may maraming krimen. Alam mo, gusto ko lang iiwan ito sa Pilipino. I would never have any other chance maybe in the future. That for all of the successes and mali o ano, I and I alone take full legal, moral responsibility. Yan ang iniiwan ko sa inyo. I am ready for your questions. Panahon ko and the previous presidents, yung panahon ko, hindi siguro ninyo nagustuhan, not you, yung the entire country. I am addressing the entire country. Baka hindi ninyo nagustuhan. But yun ang style ko. Sinabi ko nga, I tried to do the best that I could. Eh kung nagkulang ako, pasensya. Pero ang solusyon during my time was a call of duty of the president. Ako yun. Kasi ako yung presidente sa panahon ko. At hindi po ako nagkulang, Mr. Senator. Nag-warning ako lahat narinig ng Pilipinas. Huminto kayo sa droga. Bitawan ninyo, drop it. Kasi magkakaproblema talaga tayo. Pag nakita tayo sa isang kanto at hawak mo ang droga, problema na talaga yan. So, yun na, nagkakaroon tayo ng problema. May patayan. But it was not a state-sponsored killing. There was never an official order to the police and the military and to the agents of government to kill. Andyan si Senator De La Rosa. Wala akong sinabi na ganon kasi abogado ako. Ang sinabi ko, yung sinabi ko nung nagtuturo ako sa Police Academy, that in your fulfillment of duty, yung elements of self-defense would apply to you pag you are trying to arrest a person. Alam mo, ang trabaho ng pulis kasi, pag sinabi mong aarestuhin kita, hindi hinto dyan. The police must arrest and overcome the resistance para madala mo yung kriminal doon sa istasyon at mabok mo para makulong.